Official start or just go whenever? Okay. Well, my name is Lee Neville, and I'm just, Kathy asked me to speak a little bit today, so here I am. I was just kind of going to go over some, like a system that I do to save money, and on the lines of like, you know, every penny saved is a penny earned, right? So, interest at banks accounts are pretty low, well, have been historically low for a while, so I kind of got into this credit card cash rewards cashback deal. So I've been doing it for a few years now, and it's pretty simple to get started. I actually just went to this place called NerdWallet.
And that's an app?
It's just a website.
Okay.
NerdWallet.com. And I specifically search for cash back credit card rewards. Now, some credit cards have miles or some sort of other systems. I don't know. I don't use those, so I just not real familiar with those. But the cashback ones, they have multiple credit cards that have various cashback rewards. And so what I've done is I've maxed out my cash back on all my bills that I spend, that I use for the month. So like I have about 6 credit cards. That might sound like a lot, but I use them for different things. So like, and I always pay them off at the end of every month. Now, if you, it's something that you can make pretty decent money back on an annual basis if you pay the credit cards off every month. Now, what I do is I have a fair-sized checking account, so I don't really worry about if I'm going to be able to make ends meet at the end of the month. So for me, I don't have to really worry about it, so I just do automatic payments out of my checking account each month from my credit card. So I never ever use my debit card, and I never write a check unless I'm forced to. So I swipe my credit card every single place I go. And the minimal cash back I have is 2%, and the maximum is 5%. So that means at a bare minimum, 2% on every purchase that I do throughout the year, I get cash back on that. So I do rough figures, let's say $20,000, right, a year. If you're a family, the bigger the family, the more you spend, the more beneficial this is going to be. So $20,000 a year in expenses times at a bare minimum 2%. Somebody help me out, is that $400? Okay. So that's $400. Free money. I like free money. Now, so for this quarter, this current quarter, I have 5 credit cards that I'm using.
Time out, Lee. Tell them, you change every...
Yeah, some of these credit cards are on a rotating categories, if you will. So each quarter they'll rotate to something else. Like this month, Chase, or this quarter, Chase is gas, and like Walgreens purchases is 5%. This next quarter, starting in April, it's groceries and home improvement type purchases. That's at 5%. The U.S. Bank credit card I have, you actually get to choose those categories, and you get to choose 2 of them at 5%, and utilities and cell phones are part of that. So utilities and cell phone bills are mandatory purchases, basically, and at 5% rewards, that's actually a really nice savings just right there on that one credit card. I think when I was talking to Jim about it, wasn't it about $1,000 a year we were talking about, just on that one credit card right there. So if you maximize this out, you can see where, I mean at minimum $400 a year, And at gym, we were talking about 1,000. I mean, if you maximized it, you could probably easily be over $1,000 for a, in a family household setting. So I have basically like 5 or 6 credit cards, and then I just choose the best categories that work for me, basically the ones that I spend the most money on.
Can you share with them which cards you use? Which
Yeah,
are the best?
so I have, if you go to, well, it's kind of, okay, so if you go to NerdWallet, there's so many different kinds of cards. But the Citi Double Cash, this is my 2% on everything. I can spend as much money as I want each quarter. A lot of the 5% categories, they do have like a maximum of like $1,500 per quarter, but that's like $500 a month. So just, I guess you'd have to be a little aware of that, but I've never even come close to that. So the Citi Double Cash, you have to have like kind of good credit for some of these credit cards. You have to have good credit. But on NerdWallet, they basically kind of go through and show you about like what your credit score would have to be. So here's a Discover It cashback. I also have this credit card. I guess another thing to point out is I don't have any credit cards that have any annual fees. So no annual fees. I don't really care what the interest rate is because I make the payment on time every single month. And you're supposed to have good to excellent credit score for this particular credit card. So you gotta be aware of that, I guess. And this is a 5% cash back up to $1,500 per quarter. So that one, just for example, that's groceries this month, or this quarter, and gas next quarter. So that's, those are mandatory purchases. So, US Bank Cash Plus. That is that's the credit card where you get to choose the 2 5% categories. That's a good one to have. I think I said this one already, but Discover It, IT. Chase Freedom, that is a category credit card at 5%, so sometimes it's gas, sometimes it's groceries.
And how do they let you know, or do you have to find that yourself?
They basically, I set it up where they notify me either via email or text, and then all you gotta do is basically like press a button or a couple buttons and get activated for that upcoming quarter. So I have already activated all my credit cards for the second quarter. So then, and basically I just put this little sheet in here in my wallet and lets me know
Which one to use for what?
which one to use for what. At first when I had 1 or 2, it was easy to keep track of, but then when you get 5 or 6, it's impossible to keep track of it. So I just put it on this little tab here, and then, so every time I open up my wallet, well, it's actually really easy. Where are you at? You're at the gas station, you're gonna swipe the gas card. You're at the grocery store, you swipe the card that's for groceries. So it's actually a pretty simple concept to implement. It's just takes a little bit to kind of get going, but it's actually not too bad. Let's see. And then I also had this Bank of America one, but I think I kind of put that one to the side because I found a better one. So there is potential for some basically saving money. Some of the credit card rewards you can just cash it out as a check. They'll write you a check in the mail. Others are credits to your statement. But either way, that's cash savings. So, anybody have any questions or?
Not really a question, but you have yours automatically paid at the end of the month every time.
Yeah.
But if you're not able to do that, one of the other things you can do, especially if you have a hard time with the discipline of making that payment every month, is like what I'll do With my credit card, I have an app for my credit card where I can pay. So I'll walk into Walmart, I'll swipe with my credit card, and as soon as I get in my truck, I pay it right there. I mean, it's tedious, but if you lack the discipline.
Yeah, you're right. My boss's son does that same thing. So he just pays with his credit card and then pays it right away. The other upside to this, I guess, would be that first month that you start swiping your credit card, you won't have to pay those bills for another month after that. So that first initial month, if you, let's just say you're spending like $2,000 a month on your credit card, right? That initial month, you're essentially gonna kind of save $2,000 because you won't have to spend that money till next month. Now, if you ever quit doing it down the road, you'll have to make up for that, but I don't plan on quitting using my credit cards, but, so that would be a slight benefit to kind of get you going and putting a little bit of money in your pocket. But you have to be disciplined to make the payment every single month, and you have to have the money in your account to cover it every month. Because if you get even 1 month behind, or you start getting behind, you can get in trouble, and then you're going to start paying interest on it, and then that's just going to wipe out anything that you're trying to accomplish with the cashback rewards.
I just have a quick question. Have you run into places that don't take the credit card? Because like you said utilities, but like the Wahoo utilities and the garbage collection, they do not take credit cards.
Yeah. I can't pay my house payment with my credit card. And there are some places like the Dodge County Treasurer, you can't.
Yeah,
Well, you can, but they charge you a fee. And the fee's in excess of what I'm going to benefit. So that would be an example of writing a check. But yes, there are places that don't accept credit cards.
Red Wine Cafe in Longview,
Same way.
it will not take plastic.
Being size doesn't take it either.
I keep wanting to get the little square.
Well, the reason for that is because credit card processing fees, as you probably know,
Yeah.
like 2, 3, 4% or so. So the business, it costs them money to accept plastic. But we want to.
What's that?
It's my work. So,
I just bill who they pay me in 30 days or.
Do any of them expire? You have a certain amount of time you have to,
on the credit cards,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
they
rewards.
all expire, but
the rewards I'm talking about.
oh, the rewards. The only one that I came into a problem with that was on my PayPal credit card. But I actually only use PayPal for online purchases only. I don't really particularly look at cash back on that credit card. But I think it does have like a 2-year, after 2 years, 24 months, something like that, then they start expiring or something. But most of the credit cards, you can cash in small amounts. Some I think have like a minimum like $25 or something. But you could probably, I usually cash in like once a year. Or you can do it every 6 months or, every year or so. And then I either put that money towards debt or splurge and usually buy a gun or something. So,
Get that for the date.
so yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good savings, and the way I look at it is it's free money, and it's instantaneous savings on your money. It doesn't have to sit there and earn interest for a year. It's an instant 2 to 5% savings on your money, which is pretty awesome. So I try to get everybody that would be interested in this to start doing it. But some people, they're just not used to the credit cards, or they're worried that they're not going to be able to make that payment when it comes due, or they're scared of 5 or 6 credit cards, and but for me, it's just been something I've been doing for a few years now, and I don't even think twice about it now, so it's just second nature. So.
Well, and I'm sure also the added benefit of you're constantly rotating and keeping your balance super low so your credit stays high.
Yeah, yep. Good to get credit. So, yeah. Any other questions or?
You wanna co-sign a house loan?
I did not co-sign.
Why does not do that?
Good try.
What's your favorite credit card for the
Well,
cash back?
the 2% one's nice because it's 2% on everything. But the best card is probably the US Bank where you get to choose. So cell phones and utilities. And they also have one of those categories you can choose is like sporting goods place, so like Cabela's or Shields and that type of stuff. So and I can switch that out, so when it comes time to buy the gun, then I'll get that 5%. So pretty good deal. But, so I mean, it's just something to think about. I would recommend probably starting off on 1 or 2 credit cards. And the 2 that I would probably start off with is anyone that you can get a 2% cash back, which is that Cash Plus credit card.
Double cash.
Yeah, excuse me, not the Cash Plus, the City Double Cash. But the US Bank Cash Plus, that is the, the 5%, and you get to choose 2 categories per quarter. Cell phones and utilities are on that.
The US Bank, what's it called?
US Bank Cash Plus.
That's the one.
What about Capital One? I like that black guy.
Choose one.
He's only at 1.5%, so I'd rather take 2 over 1.5.
So you can find all this information on nerdwallet.com.
Yeah, I just started out with like 1 5% category card, and then I just kept looking on NerdWallet, and I was like, oh, that one's got these categories, and it's different than these categories. And so I just started getting one, and then another one, and then another one, and now I'm basically to the point where I'm kind of maxed out. Like, unless a new card comes that has different benefits, I probably won't be able to maximize anymore. But yeah, NerdWallet's a really good resource. You just go there and read up on it. And you can even apply for the credit cards, like right there from NerdWallet, I believe. Or you could just Google it and go find that credit card, like on Visa or whatever, so.
I will say, Perry did that with because my credit was pretty low, because I didn't have credit. And so he got me one of those like $50, it's a secure card, it only had a $200 limit. And we just got gas and then paid it off. My credit jumped almost 100 points in like 4 months.
Wow. That's
So
nice.
just with that, and I was comfortable with that super low balance, so.
And that makes a really good point. The credit card companies are gonna want to basically offer you as much credit as possible. So when you get a credit card, they're gonna probably say, oh, you have a $10,000 credit line or $12,000 credit line. Well, what I did I don't think that that's a good thing on your credit score if you have 6 credit cards, right? $10,000 credit line each card, right? So I heard that somewhere. So I decreased every credit line on my card. I did that for 2 reasons. One, to prevent any decrease in my credit, and then also just in case, I had some fraud or somebody stole my credit cards and we're going to use them up. They can only rack it up to like $1,500 or $2,000 versus like $10,000. So I did decrease all my credit limits on my cards to basically $2,500 or less. Yeah.
Another advantage of that is with me using my credit card and then paying it off as opposed to my debit card is whenever I make a purchase with my credit card, it notifies me of that purchase. I basically get an email receipt. I did get skimmed one time, and the only way I caught it was because of that. Whereas my debit card, I may not have looked at it towards the end, till the end of the month or whatever.
Yes, I did not buy him concert tickets and a hotel room in England.
I donated one once for concert tickets. I hate needles.
We have to let you go because you're supposed to be